Welcome to Extra Holes and our recap of the PGA Championship. We play fast here on Extra Holes, so here's the best 30 seconds of golf you'll hear. At the golden age of 50, Phil Mickelson proves himself and everybody else wrong, and he wins the silver Wanamaker Trophy. He becomes the oldest player ever to win a major and is now 9th on the all-time win list with 44. It was a tournament for the ages. 5 players in the top 10 were over the age of 40. Whose wins are better? Tiger's win at the Masters in 2019, Tom Brady's win at the Super Bowl at the age of 43, or Phil's win last week? We'll discuss. How do you feel about the crowd situation on 18? Looks like the COVID discussion in South Carolina made it clear. Did they protect the players? Scotty, we got a busy show ahead of us. What do you have for us today?
All right, Johnny, man, I'm looking forward to this. We're not going to have enough time to fit this one in. And by the way, don't forget the 86 Masters with Jack. Yes, sir. That was a pretty damn good one, too.
Yeah.
So for me, where I want to start off is Sunday. I knew the golf course was great. I couldn't wait to watch every second of it. And especially on that front nine, it was like a boxing, like a title weight fight. I mean, it was a heavyweight title fight because one hole, 2-shot swing, another hole, 2-shot swing. I mean, you didn't know who was going to be leading it until Phil kind of comfortably settled into his round. But a great story. I believe it might have been his 45th career win. First one, it's his 6th major, like you said, first one I think since the 2010 Masters. And what's interesting to me is he really didn't have that good a form coming in. I mean, if anybody watched the show last week, we never mentioned him. We didn't mention half the people in the top 10. I mean, it was
he was 100 to 1, I think, right?
He was, that he was more than that, I think, before they started. But I should have counted this up before the show, but there was more than a handful of guys, including the 2 Ryder Cup captains and Padraig Harrington at 49 T for 4. There's more than a handful of guys that were in their 40s. I mean, unbelievable the age of these guys. You'd have thought that this was a bomber's course, but I don't know, John. What do you think? Maybe these one-dimensional golfers, maybe that's not the ticket.
Yeah, and going back to actually what you talked about, turning it into a title fight kind of thing, is it was all set up with that. Brooks has always been a guy that plays his majors well. Even though he didn't putt very well on Saturday, he still put himself in the contention.
Yeah, he does play him well. All you gotta do is ask him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but then, like you said, Phil got himself a little lead, and what was disappointing is nobody gave him a true test to where they knew that he knew he was a shot ahead, or if he had shots to play with there. And I think it all came down to Brooks played the par 5s 3 over par, and Phil played them 3 under par, and that I think was the difference of the golf course.
Big difference, yeah.
But Streelman never gave him a run. Oosthuizen never gave him a run.
Well, Louis kind of did, but then he had too many penalty shots.
Right, exactly. So, but nobody ever got within a shot, if I'm right. I think they got within 2 shots, so he always had one to play with. And then it got really interesting when he bogeys 12 and 13, and he actually hits pretty good shots and a good shot into 14. Yeah. And you're thinking, here goes this wheel, and here goes this wheel.
But 13 isn't 13 where he hit in the water second shot. I mean,
it's 13-14, not 12-13. It's 13-14 because he hit the 6-iron on 14 right at it, and it takes a jump right and goes down that hill, and he doesn't get it up and down. But again, we were talking about it. The teeth of the golf course was 14 through 18. So here we go. He's gone and made a couple bogeys, and he's just getting in the teeth of the thing. But then what has happened? What we discussed last week, the wind changed, right? So now all of a sudden those tough holes that are usually 14 through 18 in the teeth of the wind, which going into Sunday, 14 was like the 7th hardest hole, 15th was like the 5th hardest hole, 17 was the hardest hole, and 18 was the 2nd hardest hole. So boom, and the par 5 was a par 5. It was up there. So then all of a sudden they're hitting 7-irons into the par 5 16.
I know.
I mean, I wish that would have been a deal where Phil's sitting on 16, he backs off, he's got to take another deep breath. Now he's hitting 6-iron that hole. That hole is 36 back and 6 from the right. That would have been a 3-iron at least, into that teeth of the wind. So it would have been a great little finish to watch that. But
well, I agree, but I'm still glad. I'm still happy that Phil won. To me, that was a great story. I know Koepka. Again, he couldn't quite finish the deal, and he's actually as great a record as he has in the majors, which he does. He hasn't been able to finish lately on Sunday, and me for one, I was cheering for not him.
Right. Yeah. And look at, I mean, he's been hurt. I mean, he's in pain still, and, give him the benefit of the doubt to be in contention. There was two guys that you were not going to put any money on that came down the stretch, and they were the two guys that were going to win the golf tournament. So, and it goes back to it, very disappointing with the Justin Thomases, very disappointing with, the Bryson DeChambeaus and some of these. Yeah, and Rory, exactly.
Xander.
Some of these younger guys, Xander, exactly. But Rahm, right? There's another one. So it kind of comes back, like when we talked about it, the one for the ages. Mickelson wins at 50. Harrington's in the top 5 at 49. Casey's 43. Streelman's 42. Rose is 40. Is this kind of telling us, like a golf course like that, and that these one-dimensional players are never going to be in contention because they can't fight their golf ball, and they are more robotic, and where these other guys are more field players? I don't know. What is your sense there?
Well, that's a great question. And my sense is that when you go to well-designed venues, and I'll give two of them, and they're both Pete Dye, for instance, but the TPC seems to always bring out a golfer, a ball striker, not necessarily a bomber. And this golf course did the same thing. I mean, yes, Phil averaged 316 off the tee, which was probably 30th or something. I mean, they were killing it. But I think that when you get to the right design where you have to hit your golf ball and shape it both ways and create shots, it takes the bombing part out of it. And so I do think I kind of liken these bombers to what's going on in baseball right now. You see more strikeouts because they're trying to have more home runs. You've seen 6 no-hitters this year, which is, they're already talking about changing the rules because, guys are swinging so hard. And anyway, it's refreshing to me as a senior player to see a ball striker win out, not a bomber. So I like it, John.
Yeah, and you're talking about a golf course that played 7,600 yards every single day. Again, wind conditions, and I don't, but I actually think, and I'd like to get your view on that. And we're coming up to another major here in the middle of June. Torrey Pines, Kikuyu grass. Are you looking more at a bomber though, being the guy to beat there because of,
for sure,
there's no roll. I mean, there's going to be roll in the fairways, but that rough is like,
big greens.
You could get through some stuff, on the sand and stuff like that. A little bit more.
It's got to be a bombers one for sure. I was going to say back to the PGA, but I agree that it'd be a bombers more so than this past week. Kudos to the PGA for changing the setup around. I mean, they could have shoved it back to 700-800 yards, and they could have made Sunday impossible, the earlier days impossible. Sunday was not going to be impossible because the wind had shifted like we discussed, but they made the, what was it? The third hole, the little par 3 or par 4 that they changed into a drivable par. I mean, that was a great drama because, Phil made 5 there. I mean, if you hit a good, you could make a 2, but you could make a 5 just as quick. I thought that was kind of fun to watch. His shot. I had to say something funny.
And that's what's been great about the USGA and the PGA championship is, they're starting to have fun with some of the holes that way and do that kind of stuff. I was talking to somebody on the grounds today actually about it, knowing that we were going to go on there, and they said that they had actually played prior to the golf tournament after they missed the cut in Charlotte. At Quail Hollow.
Yeah, that was in Charlotte.
Okay, and they were actually able to play in the wind on Sunday, the same wind. So they were prepared, and they actually played pretty good and came in the top 10. So they said that was very important that they were able to play that wind. And he said them and Cantlay were the only ones that he had known that actually had played in that wind on Sunday. So and it actually was beneficial to the both of them. They both played really well. So
we talked about the front nine. There was a lot of changes. I did think the first big moment. I mean, obviously the first hole was huge because they had a birdie and a bogey. But the fifth hole, which was one of the funniest moments that I can remember as far as from a commentator, So Dottie Pepper, she just seems to always have the notion to say the wrong thing at the wrong time, or you know what I mean? She says, I mean, Phil's standing in the bunker, and it was a tough bunker shot. And she says, this has been a real weakness of Phil's game. He's 156 on tour, and this has not been a bright spot for him. 2 seconds later, he holds it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't ever question that guy out of a bunker. I mean, ever, or anything to do with the short game.
Right, exactly. Especially in the heat of the moment. It's one thing to, get it up and down on a Thursday or Friday, but on the last 9 or the last 18, the last day of a major championship in the last group, that was pretty incredible.
So overall, I thought it was great for the game of golf, right? I thought it was great that Phil went in. It was great. I think he's a great champion. His brother Tim on the bag, a friend of mine, just a super nice guy. I was very happy for him. But again, I just think overall, with golf buzzing as it is, this whole last year with the pandemic, and it was almost the only sport you can really play and practice. And now having Phil win a major, and it's going right into the summer months, where the whole United States is actually open playing golf and enjoying their courses. That I just think this is going to be just a cherry on the top, and the buzz is going to continue to keep going. So,
well, and I agree. And part of that is that this is a Ryder Cup year, and the fact that Harrington ties for 4th and Stricker ties for 44th, both captains make the cut and compete, that's a pretty cool deal too. So the Ryder Cup's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that. The Olympics, I'm not sure how I feel about the Olympics. I'm sure I'll watch it, but it doesn't have the same buzz to me as far as, with Matsuyama and the Masters, maybe it has a better buzz, but I don't know. There's a lot of good storylines. I thought there was a cool storyline with Harry Higgs. I didn't know his nickname is it Big Rig or Big Rigs?
Yeah, I don't know, but
Big Rig Higgs.
Yeah. The guys Colt Nost and Sleaze, they call him something too. It's funny, but he's just a funny guy, just happy-go-lucky guy, and what's great, he's got in the Masters because of it, right? And Harrington got in the Open and got in the Masters because of the top 5.
Well, and one of the interesting stories about Higgs is his brother, who's a fine player in his own right, had qualified for the U.S. GA4 ball, which I think they just started the match play today, and he forfeited going to the USGA event to caddy for his brother. And yet I believe you said that Max Homa, was it his caddy, Max Homa's caddy?
Yeah. Went
to play because had committed a long time and didn't realize. And so Max had bones on the bag, right?
Yeah. And I'd like, what? Okay, so you and I are partners, right? And I go, hey, I'm going to go caddy for a buddy and leave you hanging.
Yeah, it might be. Well, can they sub somebody or not?
Has to qualify, right?
It's almost impossible to qualify.
Right.
So, but did he get to have a replacement or no? They just
I don't think you can you? I don't think you can.
I would doubt it. I would doubt it. I should have done my homework. I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either.
Let
me throw you the wins. Like, who do you think is more impressive? Do you think Tiger's win was more impressive at the Masters? Do you think I've thrown the Super Bowl victory in, but that's a team event, so you've got to be able to win with other players to do that. So I'm going to throw Tom Brady out as a third place deal, but put
in Nicklaus's 86 Masters in that mix.
Yeah.
I would still say, it's Phil's for a couple reasons. Number one is of his age. Number two is it was on a golf course that he's fairly unfamiliar with as far as,
Right.
He had a distinct disadvantage in his form, in his length, even though his length was, more than serviceable. But Tiger's win was awesome. It was I'm not going to downgrade that, but he won and Nicklaus won at the Masters. Augusta National there's only certain people that can play that course and win on that golf course. And so I don't know. What's your take?
I think it's a great point because this is not on a golf course that they play all the time, every single year. No, every piece of grass, no, all that stuff. So I agree with you. For some apparent reason, I'll throw Nicklaus in as second and Tiger in at third at 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Just because he ages, but have you heard anything about Tiger? What's his recovery or anything?
Nope. I don't think we're gonna hear from him for a while. I think he's still on a crutch, probably. I don't know, and I just hope I hope we get to see him again play. But I don't know. I'm a wait and see guy. So
shout out to I didn't shout out earlier. Two of the PGA golf professionals made the cut. Ben Cook and Brad Merritt, and actually, Cookie was kind of in there for a while. He was he was looking like maybe a top 10 or 15 or 20. Ended up shooting 74. He must have had a little something higher on the back. I didn't see what he showed on the back, but still, kudos to him. Tied for 44th on that golf course when you got 3 of the top 4 in the world missing the cut. That's pretty damn impressive.
I didn't see how much he made, but I guarantee you that's he's probably taking somebody on a nice vacation.
Yep, agreed.
So question, give me your thoughts on what you think about the 18th hole and how that whole crowd situation. I'd love to get your take on. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you think this is something that should continue? What is your mindset on that?
Well, it's a great question. I saw Seth Wall apologize, the head of the PGA, the CEO, apologize for them not having a better handle on it. I do like when the British Open, I do like when they let the people go down 18. I would like to see them do a better job. I thought Phil was scared. I obviously Brooks was pissed off, but Phil looked like, it was kind of, I thought he tweaked his back or something. And
some guy grabbed his shoulder and he kind of went down. Some guy wanted to go pat him on the shoulder and he kind of caught him. But Phil just kind of just raised his arm and, kind of did it. But
I like having the crowd up there. I don't like how they got there. And I don't like the fact that those guys, it was like the Beatles trying to get out of a concert or something. They couldn't. It had to be scary for them.
Well, I absolutely agree. I think it'd be great to do at the U.S. Open. I'd love to see it done at the Open Championship, and you can't do it at the Masters. I just don't think that would be right. It's nothing they've ever done before. I think it's great, but you're absolutely right. You've got to have crowd control there. If you're going to allow them to do it, you can't let them just storm the place, right? So somebody bumped into the caddy, Brooks's caddy, who the bag went into his knee. I think he played it a little too dramatic, but he felt some, he felt some pain because he got hit. So that is, that the PGA needs to look into doing a better job. But here's the funniest thing, like what I thought was a little funny, and I'm not going to get in the political side of COVID here, but here it is where all these people are out there. There's probably 2,000 people surrounding the green. And at the ceremony, they make sure every executive and Phil is 6 feet apart. I'm like, really? If you're going to let these players, here's a situation on a COVID situation where you're letting these players be this far from the fans, which I don't think is, the smart
I got
thing.
a kick out of your.
But go ahead.
I got a kick out when you texted me over the weekend. You said, "Looks like South Carolina doesn't really have any problems with the old COVID issue, do they?"
Right. No. So and I got no problem with it. So look at, if you're going to leave it open, leave it open. But I just find it funny is when they got on the green, like, no, you have to be 6 feet apart. I'm like, oh well, you've got 2,000 people here that are shoulder to shoulder. So it was a little funny on that side of it. But I do like it. But they need to control that situation for sure.
100%. Yep, 100%. And I'm excited that the PGA is now, going to continue to be in May. It was always, even though, if you look at the numbers, it's real easy to see that they always have the top field of any major. Obviously the Masters is an invite. The U.S. Open has a lot of open qualifying spots, as does the British Open. And so the PGA, other than the 20 professional golfers, they have the best. They get the top field in the world. And I used to always kind of feel like the PGA was in August was oh, by the way, everyone's kind of worn out. But now when you throw the players in March, the Masters in April, you have the PGA in May, the U.S. Open in June, and the British in July, and then you go into the FedEx Cup. I think the PGA Tour has got it right. I think all these people got together and they got their shit right.
I'm 100% behind you, and that allows those guys, those top players, to more or less say, look at the end of August, or what is it, August, September, like you know, then they're kind of, you know, somewhat maybe done for the year, but because now the season starts now in September, right? So
they call it the wraparound season. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I agree. I think they do have it right. It keeps the fan energized if there's a major every month. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's pretty cool. So here you go. You're going into the U.S. Open here, and we'll talk about it, you know, down the road here in the next couple of weeks. But Rahm is going to be your favorite at 12-1, and they got Phil, who's sleeping in his own bed, living down the street, who actually got a special exemption, but now is actually exempt anyways because he won the PGA.
So right? I wonder who they'll give that special exemption to.
I know Ian Poulter said, hey, it was a great win by Phil Mickelson. By the way, USGA, I'm available if you want to hand one out. So, but he's 50-1 at Torrey Pines. So,
wow.
Yeah. Still, again, I don't know. You know, he hasn't had the best record since the redesign. So I'm curious to see, you know, how he does there. But
so how's that golf course going to play in June?
Well, you know, we get it. They call it May gray, June gloom, right? So there is a strong possibility that they could have some fog issues down there and have an overcast type of mornings, you know, there. It all depends on the weather, but I think it's going to be, you know, I think the Kikuyu rough is just absolutely, it's gnarly.
Well, see that I'm just sensing
and they're going to try to
be crazy. But I'm sensing they're not going to be able to get the course firming fast enough. It's always kind of damp around there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, a day like today, like is crazy. Like I left. I'm 40. I'm about 45 minutes north of there, and I had an appointment down earlier today, and it's gorgeous where I'm at. By the time I got down to the Encinitas area, it was overcast and foggy. So it all depends. You're absolutely. So they will actually probably try to burn them out as much as they can during this weather, and then let the moisture of the fog based on, you know, probably their 10-day forecast, how they want to do that. So, yeah. So you got guys like Xander and Ricky and actually Ricky has to qualify. So you have the Memorial in a couple of weeks, right? And there's a big one there, right? Right after the Memorial. At Jack's tournament, they have the big one where they take like 35 or 40 guys from one spot.
Yeah, and they actually have. I think they almost have two spots there because I've played in the qualifier there before, and there's a ton of spots there. Yeah,
ton of spots there. Yeah, exactly. So I would say from now on, all the way until the next couple of weeks, you're going to have your regional finals, USGA stuff. So
give us something to do our homework on.
Right.
Hey, there's one funny, not really, but I had a question for you. Yeah. So I don't know if you got a chance to see a kid who played at the University of Minnesota, Eric Van Rooyen, who's actually he's probably in the top 50 of the world. He's a good player, plays European Tour a lot. He went nuts on the tee marker on 17 on Friday because he knew he was going to miss it. He actually a pretty good shot, rolls across the green, just kind of goes to right and just bloop, right into the water.
Right.
And his caddy was scared. There was a couple of fans that were scared. I mean, he took two whacks, ended up breaking his club, and shattered the tee marker. So my question is this. Since it's a PGA of America sanctioned event,
right?
Can they fine him, and can the PGA Tour also fine him because he's a member of the tour, or how's that work?
I don't know how it works, but I guarantee you one of the bodies did probably fine him. Or what I loved about it is they had a replacement up there like that fast.
Yeah,
it's almost like they must have had a little box of them. Like, hey, you know, this is where we could lose some tee boxes here.
Yeah, right.
Just throw this little box out to the side because this hole's going to eat them up and spit them out. So, yeah, I would say that he was pulled to the side there and. One of the bodies probably. It was never reported. I don't know if it was a hand slap or.
No, they never. Those tours never report that stuff. Yeah. My guess is that he got fined, and he also probably got a letter saying, "Hey, you know, you're on double secret probation here. You can't behave like this. This is unbecoming of a gentleman, and golf is a game for gentlemen." Yeah. And he probably got the letter saying, "Don't do that again."
And another major or another big tournament missed by Matt Wolff. So wonder when we're gonna ever see him again. So maybe it will be Torrey Pines. But I don't even know if he's exempt to that, to be honest with you.
I think we'll get a pretty good barometer of that if he plays the next couple, 2-3 weeks. I didn't look at the field down at Colonial to see if he's in there, but Colonial usually has a pretty good field. So
Yeah.
My guess is no. If he didn't play this week, why the hell would he play? If he didn't play last week, why would he be playing this week?
And then Colonial, isn't it, for a short knocker? It's really tight, right?
Yeah,
so I don't know if that's going to be his cup of tea either. Maybe in the Memorial might be. Maybe he gives it a shot at the Memorial. And
Memorial's definitely a big boy course, that's for sure.
Yeah. A couple things. Just we got the Senior PGA this week at Southern Hills in Oklahoma. That's that should be a fun one. I think they're looking at possibly some late Thursday, late Friday, some thunderstorms up there. But that'll
be fun to watch because it's from Southern Hills, and Southern Hills is the venue for next year's regular PGA.
Right, and that's actually where Retief Goosen won back in the day.
He won a U.S. Open there, I believe.
He won a U.S. Open there, right? Yeah.
Yep.
The other thing that we forgot to talk about on our last podcast, but we're going to recap it, is or just talk about it real quick. The Walker Cup. The Walker Cup was held a couple weeks ago. The USA wins its third straight. They wins 14-12. It was at a unbelievable golf course, renowned in Florida, called Seminole. And Seminole member and captain Nathaniel Crosby, the captain of the USA team, he's a member at Seminole. And they set it up to where it didn't disappoint. We were shown that the teeth of that golf course are those greens at 14 on the stimp meter.
Yeah,
and it was a true test for those top amateurs.
I agree with that. I think you and I discussed after we first got to see Seminole as a country on national TV when they had those matches with Rory and Dustin and Ricky and those guys. They went a step further on setting up that golf course up for the Walker Cup. And while there was good drama, I'm not a fan of somebody hitting a shot in the middle of the green and rolling 65 like on 18. Several times you saw somebody hit a shot in the middle of the green and it just had a little bit of cut spin, rolled off the green down 50 or 60 yards over the driving range. Count me as not a fan for that. I'm a fan of the Walker Cup and everything it represents. I don't like to see people get frustrated after a decent shot. That's all. Just me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it was almost crazy, and kind of what I heard. I don't know if they set up the place very well actually for the players. There was a lot of kids that got sick during that thing. There was on both sides.
That was part of the story. Is all those people got sick, and I think they almost put them in a compound. They got that beautiful clubhouse.
They have
you've got so many hotels that are beautiful around that area, and to put them in like a little compound. I had heard about that too, and that's too bad. But I guess it is what it is.
Yeah, they had them in trailers, so for their locker room. So other than that, that's all I got for you, Scotty. I know you're on your way out to the golf course to play a little bit. I'm a little jealous. But, you enjoy your time out on the golf course. I hear you got some cold weather coming your way. So enjoy that 85 degrees in Minnesota while you can.
All right, Johnny.
And other than that, we'll probably take next week off and probably talk to you after the Memorial. But other than that, everybody have a great day. And that's our recap of the PGA Championship. And we'll see you in the fairway.
Have a safe, happy Memorial Day weekend, and we will talk to you in June.
You got it. Cheers.
Yep.